Today we're talking about getting too cold and why you should take shivering seriously.
My name is Angeline. I'm a wilderness first responder, an EMT, and a mom. I'm here to help you confidently manage your family's health issues and emergencies, and maybe even save you a little money.
It's winter. I hope you're out enjoying the winter weather with friends and family, outside, snow, ice, all the fun winter things. And of course, people are going to be cold and people are going to start shivering, and that's a good thing because shivering keeps the body warm. It's like when you get cold and you start jogging in place just to generate some body heat and you feel a little bit better. Well, that's what basically your skin's doing. Your skin is jogging in place like this, generating heat and keeping your organs nice and warm so they can keep helping you live. So you take shivering seriously because, especially if you're dealing with little kids, they've got these little bodies and they just don't have a lot to work with. You take it seriously because shivering is unsustainable. You can't do it forever. You will eventually get too cold, your body will become tired, and then your body temperature is going to start tanking. You're not going to get the oxygen to your brain that you need, and all kinds of things are going to start going wonky. So take shivering seriously. If somebody's shivering, they're too cold, you get them out of that environment. If you possibly can, get to a warmer environment, take off any wet clothes that they have on, put on a coat, put on a blanket, give some hot chocolate, you're good to go. You're gonna be, get them warm, they're good. Now, if you're in a situation where you can't get out of the environment and people are getting too cold, you're getting a more serious situation that you need to start planning for, okay? Because if at the point at which somebody stops shivering, they've become moderately to severely hypothermic. And that means that their brain isn't getting oxygen, their body temperature, like they're starting to not have the circulation they need throughout their whole body correctly. This is a very, very big problem. So you need to start preparing. In this situation, you can't get out of the cold. You need to figure out how to create a warm environment in some way. I mean, maybe you're stacking up branches, maybe you've got a tent, maybe you've got a car, at least some kind of enclosed environment. At the very, very least, start checking out what you have to work with amongst the people who are not in this more severe state. And by that I mean, what extra resources do you have? Blankets, even tarps, anything. Emergency blanket. So first thing is, very important first thing, take the wet clothes off of the freezing person. I've even seen medics forget this step when you've got athletes coming in from races and they've been running and they're got their body heat up, and the minute they stop running, their wet, sweaty clothes start becoming like ice packs on their body, and they come in and they're so cold that they're almost like starting to disassociate a little bit. And I've even seen medics forget to take off those cold clothes and just put an emergency blanket on top of them. It's going to do almost no good because they've got ice packs in there. First thing you got to do is get those wet clothes off, get them out of there. They are making it so much worse. So clothes off. Now, ideally, you have some dry, warmer options to replace that with. If they're at the state where they're not shivering and they're starting to get a little bit dizzy and confused, you're probably dealing with a situation where they're not even able to generate enough body heat to create warmth on the outside of their body, even if they have a warm blanket on. So you need to introduce heat to that situation. The cheapest, easiest is skin-to-skin contact. Cuddle up with that person. If you're warm, get your body up against them, ideally skin-to-skin. And give them your body heat. You can be like a heated blanket for them. If you don't have that option, hot water bottles. If you have a way to heat up water and put it in a sealable bottle, that becomes, it will kind of seal itself because, well, I won't go through how canning works, but basically it won't leak. It's going to suck itself closed pretty well as long as you shut the lid tight. Get it in there, put it in there under their armpits, put it in their groin, put it up against their stomach. These are the important places to try to get some heat going. If you can, get them to drink something warm. not hot, because they may not be able to quite deal with, it's something that's hot. They could burn their throat, especially if they're very, very confused. So something warm to drink. What happens if you're out skiing with your buddies and you lose somebody? You're out in the wilderness, or you're hiking in the snow or anything, and you lose somebody, and you find them, and they're slumped against a tree, and they've got their shirt half off, and they're either kind of confused or they're unconscious. What do? I'll tell you about that in a second. I've got to tell you about this real quick. Just bear with me, please, because I'm so happy about this book. I purchased this with my own money, okay? I went out, I actually paid money for this book so that I could own it. And I love it so much that I reached out to the distributors of this book and asked if there was some way I could bring it to a wider audience, because I think it is 100% useful in every household. It's basically any kind of medical situation, from just first aid to dramatic gallstone issues, how to deal with it at home. At the very least, know how to deal with it for long enough until you can get into the kind of care that you need. But if you live in the wilderness, or that you're trying to live off the grid, or you're in a situation where it's just hard to get to definitive care quickly, or you prefer to do things on your own, this book is where it's all at. It's like a medical education written for lay people. It's just awesome. And so the link to this is in the description. If you buy it from the link that I provide you here, I get a little commission for telling you about this product, which is fantastic, and it helps the channel. Also, it is cheaper than buying it off of a certain website that is well known for selling a lot of books. It's the cheaper option. The link I'm giving you is the cheaper option, and you can get the book. Plus, if you buy the hard copy, which I like to have because then I can just do this and look for what I'm looking for, but I'm old school, you'll also get the digital copy. And so you can have it on your phone or on your computer as well. So you can look up anything anytime you want. And also on the website, you'll see a ton of other books that they have on offer for all kinds of things. If you're like homesteading, or you like living kind of off the grid, or like doing home remedies or something, they have lots of those kind of books that you might be interested in as well. So please click the link in the description. At least check it out and see what you think, because I know you're gonna love it. So you're out skiing, and you haven't seen your buddy for a couple of hours, and then you eventually do find him, and he's sitting on the snow. He's got his shirt half off. He's slumped against a tree. He's barely conscious. Maybe even he's unconscious. Hypothermic patients, their hearts are fragile. They're not doing well on the inside. So if you do anything too sudden, if you jostle them around, if you throw them into a hot tub, these are all very sudden things. Warming up too fast, getting moved around too roughly. These are traumatic things for a severely hypothermic person. You can give them a heart attack. You can kill them by doing these things. So all the things we talked about before: removing wet, putting dry, applying heat, moving slowly toward safety is what you need to do. And then gently rewarming. I mean, as assertively as possible, you want to get that warm on them, but not aggressively, because you don't want to shock this person's system and send them into cardiac arrest. Okay, so gently warming. So what's the moral of the story here? Take shivering seriously. When a person is shivering, they are officially mildly hypothermic. They're hypothermic. You've got a hypothermic person on your hands. Take shivering seriously. Deal with it right away, because you don't want to have to get to the point where you're looking for shelter and handling people carefully and all that. You want people to walk away from the situation really, really happy, warm, and having had a good time. Take heed. I hope this helps. I hope this helps you prevent some emergencies with your family and your friends. Tell me if you have ever encountered any of these situations and what you did about it, and maybe any, things that you tried that did work, things that you tried that really made the situation a lot worse, or some things you might be afraid of. when you're dealing with certain people and taking them out into the cold. And I'll see if I can address that in the comments to help you have a good time with your friends and family. Thank you so much for watching.